Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how I tie a zero rig for catfish. This rig is best used and most practical in rapid currents. I don't often start with this rig, but if I find the fish aren't biting off the rigs I normally use, like a Carolina or a Santee Cooper rig, I'll switch over to a zero rig, because sometimes when you're using those rigs with longer leaders, it's going to cause those baits to whip around all over the place in the water. So switching over to a zero rig, that rig is going to keep your bait anchored in one spot. It's going to keep that thing from moving around, and sometimes it's going to be the difference between me catching fish and not catching fish. To make this thing, I'm going to need four things. I'm going to have my main line because there is no leader. I have a no-roll sinker. This is pretty heavy. This is a 6-ounce no-roll sinker. My hook of choice is an 8/0 octopus circle hook. I love these octopus circle hooks when I'm fishing for catfish. Specifically, this is a Gamakatsu circle hook. And then I'm going to have a plastic bead. All right, so to tie this thing, I'm going to take my sinker. Like I said, this is a 6-ounce no-roll sinker. This is my favorite type of sinker in any situation, but specifically with the zero rig, this is great because it's heavy. It's not going to roll around because it's very flat. Unlike like an egg sinker, even if it was heavy, that thing's going to be rolling around in that current, and even the lighter no-roll sinkers will get pushed around by that current. So make sure it's good and heavy. Now I'm going to add the bead. So this plastic bead is actually a protection for the knot that's going to be tied to the hook. So over time, if you don't have this bead, that weight is going to be constantly knocking up against your knot and it can weaken it. So let's just say your rig's kind of old, you've been fishing with it for a while, it's been banging on that knot, and then all of a sudden you get a massive blue cat on the end of the line. That knot could break. So I put a bead on here, kind of acts like a buffer protecting that knot. Now I'm going to tie on the hook and use whatever knot you prefer. For this, I'm going to tie on a Palomar knot. To do that, I'm going to double over the line like this. Form a little loop that I will feed through the eye. I'm going to bring some of it through, and then with it, I'll make an overhand knot. It's going to look like this. I'm going to increase that loop off to the right a little bit, and then I'm going to feed the hook through that loop, and then pull on the main line and tag in to semi-tighten the knot. But before I tighten it all the way, I'm going to wet the knot with some spit so it slides together easier. And then I'm going to pull on both the main line and tag end to completely tighten it. And when I'm convinced it's good to go, I'm trim the tag end, and that completes the Catfish Zero rig. If you want to learn more fishing tips and tricks you can use in your fishing adventures, I got a couple options you can pick from right here. I greatly appreciate you guys watching it, and I'll see you in the next one.